Kate Cagle reporting. Thank you so much for that report. Polarizing longtime Trump ally Steve Bannon is headed to trial on 2 criminal charges for his failure to comply with the January 6th commission. Trial proceedings begin today with jury selection. This is a major test of what leverage Congress has when a witness attempts to evade a House subpoena. At the latest January 6th hearing, the House Select Committee heard testimony from a former Twitter employee who said they begged the social media platform to do something about potential violence on January 6th. Take a listen.
For months, I had been begging and anticipating and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die.
Powerful testimony from this former Twitter employee, if he's to be believed. Does Twitter have any potential legal liability? Joining us now for his legal expertise is one of America's leading internet and technology attorneys, Erik Syverson. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's a delight to be with you, Giselle.
It's a delight to have you with us. So let's talk about this Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act that has allowed social media platforms to skirt liability. But if this former Twitter employee is to be believed, Twitter knew there was going to be violence on January 6th, but did nothing. Could there be criminal liability for the social media giant?
Well, I love easy questions to start my week.
Yeah, right.
That's a definite no.
Really? Because of the First Amendment protection?
The First Amendment, Section 230, which you already mentioned, also, non-legal factors such as the political environment.
Can you expound upon that? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, prosecutors have a lot of discretion. We often see prosecutors bring a case against someone and not bring a case against someone else. With regard to January 6th, there's a very interesting figure by the name of Ray Epps, who is the man on television exhorting people to break into the Capitol. And he's the one guy who's not been prosecuted. So there's a lot behind the scenes politically that neither you nor I know. And an awful lot of politicians depend upon Twitter to get their messages out. So I would sleep very easy if I were Twitter. Certainly there'll be no civil liability and there'll be no criminal prosecutions.
Well, we are in uncharted territory. So let me ask you this. First Amendment protections versus allowing hate speech that may incite violence. Where does that nexus find us? Like, where is there potential regulation that should be implemented by these social media companies to protect the users?
Well, look, social media companies can make their own rules, and they can put those terms into their terms of use that users have to agree to when signing up for the platform. Obviously, a lot in Congress can happen to regulate any industry. Many politicians have called for reform to Section 230, and that would most likely solve this issue.
Well, let me ask you this. On January 8th, Twitter permanently suspended former President Trump from the platform. Could that be seen as an admission of guilt for Twitter's role in January 6th?
No. That would be pure speculation. No.
Would anybody else, if it were not the former president, be suspended from Twitter or allowed to continue?
In my experience, you see these suspensions all across the board. Again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Twitter. Essentially, Twitter, the way it works with regard to the law is a social media platform can kick anyone off the platform for any reason they want at any time.
Internet attorney Erik Syverson, thank you so much for lending us your vital voice on this issue. We appreciate you joining us.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back, everyone. This is your morning on Spectrum News 1.